That was a test. I was testing you. And you all failed.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 funniest The Office bloopers.
What are you doing?
Fair question.
Sit down, Holly!
Walk until you hear the beehive.
How could it be more clear?
This is no good. I'm not even a real actor. Let me out.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most hysterical mistakes from the world's best boss and the rest of the Dunder Mifflin team. Tell us what you think below and maybe you'll win the Dundee for best comment. Number 10. Oscar breaks. On an episode of the Office Ladies podcast, Angela Kinsey revealed that she had a nickname for Oscar Nunez, who played Oscar Martinez on the show. She explained that she called him the statue because he so rarely broke in a scene.
It's because many of us here have never stood up and asked for everyone's attention, and it seems like you've done it on several occasions.
Jenna Fisher, Angela's co-host on the podcast, said that the number of times Oscar broke throughout the filming of the entire series could be counted on one hand.
I've already contacted all of my ex-lovers except for you.
We were never lovers.
Well, one of those times was thanks to Ed Helms during the sex ed episode in season 7.
Okay, who can tell me?
I'm sorry. Did you laugh?
While the blooper is funny, the best part of the clip is the joy and amazement of the cast that Oscar was the one who laughed. Take a bow, Andy. Number 9. Carnival. When a joint is found in the parking lot, Dwight sets out to investigate the office, but not everyone is taking the situation seriously.
Marijuana is a memory loss drug, so maybe you just don't remember.
I would remember.
Well, how could you if it just erased your memory? That's not how it works. Now, how do you know how it works?
Michael calls a meeting to address these concerns, and that's when our blooper happens.
Drugs destroy careers. Take Cheech and Chong. Everybody knows that Cheech and Chong are funny, but just imagine how funny they would be if they didn't smoke pot.
As Michael scolds the office, he tells them that this isn't a joke and it isn't a carnival. At this moment, Phyllis breaks, but they keep going. Then Creed chirps in with an exaggerated carnival, and it's all over.
Carnival.
What? It is.
It's a great line, and it feels very on brand for Creed, but it didn't find its way into the final scene. Number 8. Contractions. When Jim finds himself getting stressed out about Pam being in labor, he asks Michael to tell them when her contractions are 5 minutes apart. Unfortunately, Michael doesn't mention anything until they're down to 2 minutes apart, causing Jim to freak out.
How are we doing on contractions?
2 minutes apart.
2 minutes.
Oh God.
Michael grabs him and tells him that he has to hold it together, but the intensity with which he says it cracks Krasinski up every time. So much so that the moment didn't even make the final cut.
Well, what happened to 4 and 3? Because 2 minutes doesn't do us any good.
Jim, come here.
No, what?
You gotta hold it together, okay, man?
And speaking of holding it together, later in the episode when the doctor is giving Pam breastfeeding tips, John's passive-aggressive wisecracks cause retake after retake because no one can hold it together.
Grab onto
And
it.
I
just
squeeze
like-
it that hard.
Yeah, that hard. Yeah,
Oh, you
really
wanna-
feel it.
It's getting repetitive. I think we got it.
Number 7. Reginald. If you've seen the bloopers from the original UK version of The Office, you're aware that Ricky Gervais himself is one of the worst at keeping a straight face and not breaking during a scene.
Take 18.
Trust people, and they will be true to you. Treat them much further. Getting a little bit further every time.
And that held true when Gervais's David Brent appeared briefly on the American version of the show in season 7. When Michael attempts to show David a British character he's working on, Gervais loses it.
Sorry, mate. I forgot me snotted cream. Pretty good?
I'm so sorry.
The clip only shows 2 attempts, but we can only imagine how much fun these two had filming the short little scene. Number 6. Michael Klump. When The Office participates in a weight loss challenge, things get a little out of control, so Holly calls a meeting in order to constructively address the issues.
Dunder Mifflin does not discriminate, nor does it condone unhealthy dieting habits or extreme weight loss strategies, as was clearly stated.
But constructive and meeting are 2 words that don't really go together at Dunder Mifflin, and this one is no exception, as Michael barges in as Michael Klump and takes over.
Hello, everybody.
Oh man.
Just his hello everybody sent the cast into hysterics. Although look closely and you'll see Oscar the Statue Nunez holding it together as everyone cracks up around him. Number 5. You're not real. If Oscar was the statue, then John Krasinski was, well, whatever the opposite of that is.
What's that? I love the way John cracks.
Krasinski also loved the Creed Bratton character, and he would crack John up all the time. According to the Office Ladies podcast, it was Creed who made John laugh the hardest he ever laughed on the show in this awesome You're Not Real outtake.
I'm pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real. Huh?
We could only get a quick moment of him breaking in the clip, but according to Angela Kinsey, John couldn't keep it together and crumbled into fits of laughter.
Yeah, you should not encourage him.
Encourage him? I'm the victim.
Number 4, Santa Michael. There are many great Christmas moments on The Office, but one of the best has got to be Kevin sitting on Michael Santa's lap. Michael, angry that Jim told Phyllis she could be Santa, sets up his own Santa space and invites Kevin to sit down and tell him what he wants for Christmas.
When can I sit on your lap?
Right now! Come on over here, big boy!
What follows is Michael barely able to breathe as Kevin takes his time making decisions. This was one of the hardest scenes to shoot because everyone kept breaking. And even in the final cut, Mindy Kaling can be seen trying and failing to hold it together.
Hurry up, just say some toys. Can you give me some choices?
Oh my God, Kevin, please.
Sorry.
You'll notice in the final edit that there are fewer wide shots used. We assume to get as clean a scene as possible. Number 3, Dwight's directions. When Andy and Angela decide to have their wedding at Schrute Farms and want to go by to check it out, Dwight provides them with directions, but they aren't your standard directions.
Dwight, I'm a little concerned about some of these directions to Schrute Farms.
Yeah, do tell.
Instead, they involve mailboxes, beehives, and bear pee. You try to keep a straight face while reading those directions, because Ed Helms and Angela Kinsey sure couldn't.
If you are attacked by territorial crows... this is a really...
It's unclear if all of the directions were scripted or if Ed was doing a little improvising, but what we do know is that they needed quite a few takes to get enough for the final version of the scene.
Let's three-way this little issue and come to a solution by the time we get to Schrute Farms. How's that for a plan?
Number 2, shedding light. When a scene has a line like this, you know it's going to be a long day at the office.
Why don't you work with Phyllis and draw a picture of the exposer?
After Phyllis is flashed by a man outside, Dwight forms an anti-flashing task force, but his announcement is hampered by some Freudian slips.
Now I know what you're thinking. Won't that just shed more light on the penises? But you know what? That's a risk we have to take.
After Rainn Wilson breaks the first time, Steve Carell can be heard saying that they're never going to get through it. He can tell that this is going to be a tough one, and as the outtakes show, he was right. Rainn even tries to power through the laughter one time, but it just makes everyone crack up even more when Carell calls him out on it.
No, I know what you're saying.
Why do you keep going?
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Michael's Scranton Strangler character. Steve, John, and Janet all take turns breaking first.
Don't start laughing. I'm working on a new one, Scranton Strangler. I'm kidding. Now you with the laughing.
I Want My Baby Back. Who wants ribs?
Chili's baby back ribs. No, wait out the second one.
Okay.
You're pre-fired. Stand up, laugh, sit down, repeat.
And when I'm promoted, you're full fired.
If you're promoted.
Oh, it's just like the old days.
The headline. Carell tries to make it through the longest headline ever.
Some companies still know how business is done.
It's more like the whole article.
The noise you made. Rainn Wilson absolutely loses it.
All right. See? Just the noise you made when you stood up. I could do.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, the plasma TV. It's the funniest blooper from what many consider the funniest episode of the entire series.
So glad we finally got to do this with you guys.
It's great.
The season 4 dinner party episode is filled with hysterical and cringe-inducing moments, like Michael showing off his tiny plasma television set. But as funny as the scene is, you'll never see it the same again after watching the outtakes.
We have 2 speakers. What? Honey? Oh, Jesus. This is terrible. We'll never finish this episode.
None of them can keep it together, and it all culminates with Michael pushing this little TV back up against the wall.
Folds.
This is when they lose it, and everyone just has to walk away for a moment because they're laughing so hard. As co-writer Lee Eisenberg said, quote, "There's nothing more satisfying than having Steve Carell barely able to get through his lines."
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.